right, good morning. First of all, I want to thank everybody that's here that's standing behind me. Our council members, the president of the NAACP Peoria chapter, our clergy, the city manager, Mr. Terry Burnside, and I think I said our local clergy, so I thank them for being here. We're here because acts of violence continue to plague our community. The city of Peoria is continuing to see a rise in violent crimes. As we have stated before, enough is enough. We will no longer allow those who commit violent crimes to continue to victimize our city. For those of you who are committing violent crimes, this message is directly for you. You and your associates were warned that enough is enough. Stop the violence, quit carrying guns, and stop your violent activities. Gun violence has continued to be prevalent in Peoria. Your refusal to listen to our message of stopping the gun violence and other violent activity comes with heavy consequences. Our entire police department is now focusing on you and your associates. The message is very clear. Enough is enough. Stop the violence. We will use every resource available to law enforcement while we focus on you. We will only stop the violence. We will only stop when the violence ends. You wanted our attention, now you have it. Police will arrest individuals who are carrying guns illegally, participating in illegal activities, committing acts of violence, dealing illegal drugs, and committing gun crimes. Remember, this choice is yours. I'll take a few questions at this time. So we're going to direct every resource and our manpower to the areas that the data and the evidence shows that the violent crime and gun violence is happening.
Can you be more specific? Are you going to be having task forces?
Well, you know, we don't want to give away all our secrets, right? You know, we're going to be out there, we're going to be seen, we're going to be heard, but we're going to take every available resource, like I said before, and our manpower, and we're going to direct them in those areas where we see that the data shows that there's violent crime happening and that the evidence shows that gun violence is occurring.
And I noticed that yesterday there was a communication with the tip line. Is that something?
Yeah, Tip 411 will be coming out January 3rd. Please follow us on social media for more updates on that, how to get on the app, and the information that's related to being part of that.
So is that how the community is?
Absolutely, the community will be able to talk to us anonymously, and we'll be able to talk to them back anonymously on that as well.
It sounded like in your address you were speaking to a certain group of people. I mean, have you guys identified pretty well who you think is committing most of this violence? I mean, do you guys have a good idea of who you should be targeting and where you should be at?
Well, we're not targeting anybody specifically. We do know, we see repeat offenders. It's no secret that we have repeat offenders. A lot of them are juveniles, and we're going to need to deal with that as well. But we're going to be looking at our data. What's our crime analyst telling us where the data's at, where crime is occurring. We have ShotSpotter in town. That's data that we can look at. And we know where the evidence is at. When we go out to a shooting scene and we got casings on the ground, well, we know these are the areas we need to be in, and those are the areas we're going to be looking at and being present.
So a lot of juveniles. Are you considering perhaps restarting some juveniles as adults?
Well, we'll continue to talk to our legislative partners on that, and the state's attorney as well, on how we can pursue that. Some of those things are out of our hands. They go into the state's attorney's office. They need to be charged. We continue to have conversations with the state's attorney, and we'll continue to do that, and make sure we request that there's higher penalties and longer sentencing.
With New Year's just days away, do you have a plan of prevention on how to stop possible violence?
Absolutely. We have a plan in place for New Year's Eve, and again, it's one of those plans that we keep some of that close to the chest because we don't want everybody knowing where we're going to be, how we're doing things, but there is a full operations plan. We will be heavily staffed, and I myself will be out there working alongside the officers on New Year's Eve.
And how would you, I guess, reflect on this past year, walk and talk, kind of build that relationship with the community?
You know, I can't speak on the full year. I've been here 5 months, coming up on 6 here soon. The walk and talks have been great. The things that we've been pushing have been great. We need to continue to communicate with our community. But we can do all those things, and if our community doesn't feel safe, none of it works. So we need to put this is a strong stance. We are going to reallocate any resources we have and our manpower to deal with this gun violence.
You said again at the opening that, once again, enough is enough, and we've heard you say this before up here. What about this message is different? I mean, what are you trying to convey to these people if they're listening?
Well, and, if they're not listening, I hope somebody gets the message to them, right? There's people behind the scenes that knows who's committing the violence, right? So we need those people to speak up and talk to those that are committing violence and tell them to stop as well. And if they don't, then we're going to go ahead and deal with it ourselves. Like I said earlier, we're going to continue to push further resources and manpower to these areas. Again, it's going to be data-driven, evidence-driven, and we're going to be out there. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to deal with it head-on. If the community doesn't want to help, we'll deal with it. But again, there's parents that we see that should be involved. They need to get involved with these juveniles. We have other adults that are involved. They need to get involved. And we need to just stop the violence. It needs to stop now. There's just too much violence going on. Last question.
Yeah, and you said that, it's now going to be a full department effort. Does that mean you're having to reallocate officers from certain areas to violence now? I mean, are you going to have to pull people from other
Absolutely.
jobs?
We are going to have to move bodies around in the department and reallocate them to different areas within the police department to have the time to be able to be proactively out in the community. So thank you.